Hi, I'm Scoot, and welcome to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. I got into a really heated discussion very early in my radio show today on WWL in New Orleans. And we were talking about crime, as I have a lot recently, because there's a crime wave in New Orleans. I've talked about this a lot on my radio show, and the mayor of New Orleans, Mayor Cantrell, has been silent. She has refused to address the issue. Maybe she doesn't know what the fuck to do. I don't know. But she's not addressing the issue. Until now. Now she's addressing the issue. There was even a commentator on a local TV station who said that her silence has been uncharacteristically odd. So I'm not the only one. And I've been talking about this for a while now. The city council in New Orleans had two meetings, one with the police chief, one with the district attorney. The mayor was supposed to have a press conference today with the chief of police. That was canceled because the chief of police was sick. So that's fine. But the good news is they were planning to have a press conference. So the mayor is no longer silent. So Mayor Cantrell, thank you. Thank you. But don't just talk. Don't just meet. Do something. In the news today in New Orleans, an 18-year-old high school student died tonight. He was shot last night. We don't know the details of the shooting right now, but he was shot. Rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He died tonight. An excellent student. He was on the football team and the baseball team. He planned on graduating and going to college. He can't. He's dead. There are a lot of young people that don't give a damn about anything. This guy cared. And he's dead. And there are so many like him in New Orleans and around the country. There was a peace walk in New Orleans East today. People disgusted, saying things have got to change. The students from the high school where this 18-year-old was at school, they held a prayer session before a game the night before he was shot. And the prayer was that the violence stops and that they all come together. On my radio show, I hear people say, why don't they do more? Why don't they care about black on black crime? And you know who I'm talking about. I know who they're talking about when they say they. Why don't they do more? Why don't they care? They do care. There are some things that can be done, but they're crying out right now. In fact, they're screaming out for help. Young students have had enough. Classmates, family members are dead. There was a story the other day about a young person who died, and somebody said, I lose my friend one day, and then I find out that I lost my cousin last Thursday. I mean, people are being wiped out. And it's senseless, ignorant, thug mentality that is behind it. Guy called my show today, and he was trying to tell me that there are no opportunities, that there's no education, that the education is bad, and we need to do something to give these young people an opportunity to an education, and an opportunity to a job. This is when I got extremely passionate. I've had this conversation before. You can look at me and think that I don't know shit about anything. But I know about life. And contrary to what you might think when you look at me, I've had my struggles and problems too. Maybe not the same, but I've had some really tough struggles in my life. And there were times that I didn't have guidance. The point is, in New Orleans, and maybe in other cities as well, but in New Orleans right now, there are not consequences for armed carjackings. These little thug punk bastard juveniles are being coddled, and the little bastards know it. They know they can carjack a car and not shit is going to happen to them. They know it, and they do it, and they get away with it. And so often you hear about shootings and death, like the 18-year-old at the high school who died tonight. There are no arrests. People know who did it, but they won't come forward. Some people do come forward. I think that might be getting a little better. But when I hear tonight somebody at the peace walk say something like, the community needs to come together. We need to do more. Well, part of that is just telling what you know. And I know it might be easy for me to say that, but if you don't, you're in more trouble than I'm in, because there's a better chance that something's going to happen to you than happen to me. So communities have got to get together and start exposing the criminals. Some are just juveniles. Some are older. But let's go back to this. There are opportunities. There are job openings everywhere throughout our city, everywhere. And wages have gone up because of the pandemic and the demand. But nobody's going to come to you and give you a job. You have to take the initiative. School is there. Look, this is Louisiana. Overall, our education system sucks. I graduated from a public high school here. The education was there if you wanted it. I guess I really didn't care too much. I have a very high IQ, but I didn't get good grades. I suffered from obsessive compulsive disorder, which is under control now, but it was terrible when I was in school. I wasn't motivated. I was distracted. So the education is there, though. The problem is that a lot of kids stop going to school. Their parents don't give a shit. Their parents don't care. Now, as long as there are leaders in communities, and there are people like this caller that called my show, as long as they're telling their community and telling people in their community, there are no opportunities, there are no jobs, that we need help, we need jobs, we need education. Stop telling them that shit, because you're giving them permission to fail. You're making them victims. You're turning them into victims, as opposed to encouraging them to go get a job, to get an education. It's cooler to carjack a car than it is to get an education. Bullshit. You don't have to go on to college, but get an education. And there are kids, 14, 15, 16, they're not doing shit. And their parents don't give a shit. So look, I feel badly for children who come into this world with a parent that doesn't give a damn about them. I feel badly for them. I really do. But at some point, if they're going to become a nuisance to society and a threat to society, then society needs to punish their asses. And the punishment needs to be severe enough to where they don't think about doing it. And there's something wrong with being a hero in your neighborhood when you commit a crime. There's something wrong with no shame in going to jail. This is what needs to change. I have not said one thing about skin color. And I'm not discussing skin color. I'm discussing human behavior. There are so many people who are getting an education, so many people who do understand right from wrong, that there is proof that it's not skin color. It is a mentality. And the mayor of New Orleans and a lot of politicians refuse to address that reality because they don't want to insult their voters. So they're creating the problem. Extreme liberal policies, giving more power to the criminal, the suspect, than the victim, has created this problem. And it lies on the backs of those politicians and those community leaders that have done this. And they're so locked into their archaic thinking that something must be presented. We have to do more. Look, there are not opportunities like there once were. Things need to change. The school system needs to be better. There's a lot that's wrong. But if you want to go to school, there's a school to go to. If you want a job, there's a job for you. But there's no education and no jobs for those who don't give a damn. The other long-range problem is it needs to be shameful to select childbearing as a career choice. And we have a government that supports that behavior. There was a story in the news today in New Orleans about a 15-year-old girl and her 3-month-old baby were missing. Wait, a 15-year-old girl and her 3-month-old baby. What's wrong with that picture? They found the baby. I hope the mother's okay. But you can't have 14 and 15-year-olds having children. Can't. And then they can't have another one. And then another one. Not everybody's doing this, but enough people are doing it to create this problem of children that come into this world with no fucking guidance. Children need guidance. It's not their fault. But damn it, if you don't do your job, at some point, society is going to do the job for you. And we're going to punish your kids. And if we could find a way to punish you, that would be justice. And in some cases, we need to find a way to hold parents accountable. Because if they don't give a shit about their kids, they care about themselves. Maybe they don't care what happens to their kids, but they care about what happens to them. So if we can find a way to hold them accountable, hold their asses accountable. These are the things that need to change. And when I hear somebody just suggest that, well, we need to do more. Okay, yes, we can do more. But don't send this message to a community that you need to sit there and wait for somebody to give you something. Nobody gave me shit. Nobody came to me and said, hey, you want to be in radio? I fucking fought my way into radio. And I was terrible. I was discouraged all along the way. And I fought my way through it. This idea that somebody gives you something is total bullshit. Nobody gives you anything. You go get it. Equality in this country is based on opportunity, not salary, not education, not accomplishment. The only guarantee in America is that you have equal opportunity. And opportunity means that you have a chance to go do something, but it's not going to happen if you don't do it. I know a lot of people don't like what I say, and that's okay. The problem is human behavior. And sometimes the bad human behavior involves people of color. It's not because of their color. It's because of their behavior. And we can't be afraid to address negative behavior regardless of the person who is guilty.